Chewin on fire.
Okay, should we move on?
Yep, let's do it.
Chicken nugget number 4.
Is this gonna be hot or is this gonna?
I don't know. I've never
somewhere-
tried this one. This is that peri peri
Oh, peri peri.
one. Nanco's or whatever.
That doesn't even smell hot. Piece of cake.
Oh, this has flavor. Man, after that wasabi, nothing seems so bad.
This one, there's a bit, but it's got a really good flavor. I like it. That's this one here, peri peri, right?
That's different. I've never had that before. Interesting.
That's good stuff. I like that one. Buy that at your local market.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. No, sorry, my bad.
All right, next
fired.
question. This is the last of what I considered the spicy questions or the hard ones. So this one, it's about entertainment. So is it sin or is it bad? Is it sin for a Christian to listen to non-Christian music? And how do I know what TV shows or movies I can and can't watch?
Right.
So
Right.
how do I evaluate? So
Wow.
the first question is about, is it okay for a Christian to listen to non-Christian music?
You know, I grew up in the 80s, and the 80s had, I'm not supposed
Rock
to
and
rub my
roll.
eye.
Yeah.
And
Or-
I
yeah,
loved
careful around your eyes.
I loved 80s rock. And
And you're not just talking Petra.
oh no, like
Striper?
yeah,
You're
no.
talking like-
You know, part of it was I loved the beat, I loved the sound of it. I didn't like, maybe it wasn't even, I wasn't paying attention to the words, what the words were saying. But one day when Pat and I, we were youth sponsors, and we were taking a load of kids somewhere, we were traveling somewhere, and this Def Leppard song came on. I said, oh, I love this song, and I cranked it up. Now I've got some young people, influential people. We didn't have kids, and so now these people are being influenced by what I'm listening to. And as I started listening to the lyrics of that song, talking about, really the lyrics of that song were talking about sexual promiscuity outside of marriage. And I turned it off. Because what the message it was communicating, I love this, so I just said, I love this song. Now what I'm saying is I'm condoning sex outside of marriage, that it's just this fling thing, and it's good, and you move on and you care. Well, that's not biblical. So you know, from that point on, it's like, okay, now what do I do with this? Because I like this music. It sounds good. The beat is good. All of those things.
Right.
And I didn't like Petra. I didn't like a lot of the Christian rock bands at the time.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I don't like his voice. It's screamy. It's high, and
Yeah.
I don't like the way they do. Like, you can tell it. It's so distinctive from rock and roll to Christian rock. It's so distinctive.
Yeah,
And
you can tell,
I like
yeah.
this, and I just can't. I don't like that. I know as a kid going to church, I should listen to that, but it didn't. I don't know. And maybe because my desire wasn't for spiritual growth. My desire wasn't really for anything spiritual. Maybe that's played into it as well. That I wasn't, you know, I didn't have any use for that at the time. So I think one of the things is, I mean, there's lots of good music out there, and I listen to a lot of stuff that I don't know if a lot of stuff, but I do listen to secular music. I listen to things that are. I have this one playlist that I call Quiet, and on there I have a lot of different symphony, orchestra music, and different things like that. And a lot of it has nothing to do with Christianity.
Right.
You know, that's not
Like
where
it's
it's
just
based.
instrumental. There's
Yeah.
nothing Christian about it. It's just instruments.
But I'm not getting swayed by the lyrics, and so I guess that would be my thing. You know, I don't necessarily say that it's wrong. No, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that it's wrong. But I would just struggle with what is the message that the music is communicating to you. And I know as for me as a teenager, when I was growing up, like, you know, listen to music that edifies you, builds you up. Well, I don't know as a teenager that I would have ever bought into that. But I think it is important. You know, what will build you up in your faith? What will you build you up in all of your life? If it is sending a message that is opposite of what the Bible is teaching, then I would say, yeah, I would strongly recommend, you know what, don't listen to it. And really, one of the things, the only place I listen to, will listen to the majority of, or hear the majority of music outside of what I can program is now at the gym. And so they'll play anything and everything. And there really isn't much there that I would say you should listen to this because it's really good. Because when you listen to the lyrics, and I guess maybe that's the thing, I'm actually listening to understand what the person is trying to say or what they're trying to communicate. And it's all teaching stuff that is so far outside of God's word that it will never be a positive benefit in your life. Now, if there's stuff that really is singing about the joys of life and some of that, I mean, it's okay. And some of those songs, they really, the beats and everything, like you just gravitate towards it. I get that, but does it really? What does it do for your life? What does it do for your? As a follower of Jesus, we should be looking for something more than just being entertained. And I get too. Again, being entertained is okay. But it's what is the message that we're hearing? That's important.
You're touching on an issue where you're kind of addressing, is it really just music ultimately?
Right.
Or does this music have an effect on you that's actually, is it forming you in a way that's contrary to how Jesus wants you formed? That's a harder question to answer, I think, than just saying, no, it's not. Right. Or yes, it's okay.
Right.
What you're inviting us to do is to evaluate what effect does this music have on us, and are we buying into the message of the song, and does that message reflect something that Jesus wants us to know, which are all good questions. You could even talk about, like, is drinking okay, right? And not for everyone and not in all places, right? What effect is it having on you is just one question you have to ask when you're talking about drinking. And music is kind of in that. But it's not just music, it applies to movies too, right? And TV shows.
This flows right into that part of the question.
The whole entertainment issue is about how is this forming you? And what messages, and just because you're listening to it, just like the LGBTQ question, just because you're hanging out with somebody who's LGBTQ, and just because you're listening to a song doesn't mean you buy in to the message of it, or that you're condoning something. It's just, what effect is this having on you is a super great question to ask. And I wish we asked that more about the things. Even, like, forget music and entertainment. Like, when we go to the store and we buy a bag of chips, like, you're really asking, what is this wise for me to do for various reasons? And that's, if we asked ourselves that more, we'd be way better off. We wouldn't be sitting here eating hot sauce and burning our intestines.
But maybe here's the question. Well, I guess I'm not supposed to be asking the question, but
it's all good.
But here's a question: what is our desire when we're talking about, like, are we genuinely concerned? So when you're asking this question, can I listen to this? Can I watch anything I want? How do I base this on? What is our motivation for wanting to know? What do we want to be able to live on on the fine line of just outside here, so that I don't want to slip outside of Christianity. What can I watch and still be good with? Or am I willing to live a life of integrity and just live outside of and live in the center instead of close to those boundaries to walk on the edge? What is the motivation for asking that? Are you
trying to figure out how close you can get to a line before you cross it?
Right.
Which means there's a heart issue.
Right.
Because that's often you've committed the sin in your heart before you cross any behavioral line.
Right. So and if the heart, if your heart isn't in the right place, then obviously
then it's wrong.
And even the answer to this question, you're not going to take it. You're going to throw it out with if I don't say what you want to hear, or if we don't say what you want to hear, you're going to throw it out with they're old. That guy's old. He's balding and all of those things. And he's old.
Not as old as you guys.
And so thanks, John. And so those are. But what is our motivation behind that? But if your motivation is genuinely like, I want to grow in the Lord, I want to follow Jesus, But is it okay to still listen to that? That's where I love the heart attitude.
Right.
And then, but are you willing then? Are you willing to sacrifice some of that?
Yeah.
Now
Are you willing to give it up for the sake of the gospel?
Yeah.
If so, then it's probably fine.
Yeah. So there, that's a really good way to answer that. And TV and movies, I think maybe
Right
even
in there. Yeah.
you know, maybe they have a more, you know, I like to, one of the things I like is, I love sitcoms, I like to laugh, I like funny stuff. One of the things that I struggle with so much right now is I can't find a sitcom, and even if I go back to when I was, much younger, even in my teens, most of the stuff that I watched, there was so much sexual innuendo in there. They were portraying sexual relationships outside of marriage as good, divorce between husband and wife, they're portraying that as good, and we can live together, and even, Modern Family. I've actually never watched it, but I think I may have seen a little bit of it, piece of it, and
That's new, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
But it's
I don't have TV,
it's a mixture of different family styles and types coming together. This is just
Right.
an assumption I'm actually making, but even now, so those were the back in 20 years ago, the topics that it was about living together, divorce, remarriage, what that looked like in a family, single parents, all of those things were. Now they're switching over into the new lifestyles and how that all works out, and really portraying it from a worldly perspective and a worldly view versus a biblical view. And so to find anything that's going to be almost on the level playing field of it's just good entertainment, I'm really struggling to find something along those lines.
Right.
So that's where I struggle with. TV and movies is it's really hard to find anything that it just goes against everything that I believe.
Right. And then on the flip side, so maybe I shouldn't say this, but on the flip side, lots of Christian movies are cheesy.
I
Right?
know,
Like
I know.
they just preach at you.
I know.
And they're not about
And they're-
telling a story or asking a question at all. It's just an excuse to preach at you. So it's like, yeah, I mean, the message is good, but the art is lousy. So don't.
I know.
I was like, sorry to all you Christian movie makers out there. Make better movies.
Yeah.
But then, The Chosen, I've heard really good things about. Haven't watched it. So
I've not seen
not
that
an
either.
endorsement.
Two of the better movies that I saw, and then again, they're, what are they? God's Not Dead. Then there was the other one. Those were probably the better ones that I've seen. But same thing. It's in the same boat of when I talked about Christian music when I was growing up, Christian rock or rock music. No,
Right.
the quality just wasn't there. It wasn't
Right.
the same kind of. I just didn't. And I agree with movies and music. It's just not the same level,
Right.
Same caliber. And so what do we do? Like, should we not be like? Am I saying well, we shouldn't be entertained? We should just be serious all the time and all of that, and don't watch TV, throw it away. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it's really hard.
I think what you're calling this to is actually wisdom. Like, just if you watch things, it's not about finding a line that once you're across, you've gone too far. You're actually asking. What I hear you asking us to is evaluate the message, and to what degree are you buying that message, and is this, and specifically with sitcoms and humor, is this shaping you in a way that is furthering the kingdom, or is it furthering your kingdom?
Exactly.
Is it about you, or is this about Jesus?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a harder question than drawing a line in the sand, right? So that's what I hear. I could be misrepresenting, but
And then totally. And then how does it shape? Because it shape us for things like, okay, so now we're watching. Now we're watching shows that will have content that does speak to the LGBT plus community.
Yeah.
How does it shape our view of that? Are we allowing the TV and all of those things, the world basically, to shape our understanding of this, or even there's going to be more and more of assisted deaths coming into it.
Right.
Well, now we're going to, because they'll pull at our heartstrings, and so like there are some devastating cases when you look at it, and it's like, yeah, that should be okay. That person is suffering, they're in pain, they're struggling. so it should be okay. Now, if we look at that and the movie, the TV show, whatever it is portraying that this is good, this is best, now it leads to this better life for the person that's gone, and the better life for the people that are left behind, and they died with dignity, all of those things. They pull at our emotional strings, and so then are we forming our belief system based on that, or are we can we keep that separated and still form our belief system based on the Word of God?
Right.
Chewin on fire.